Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Have a seat, Shivani. So, Shivani, you are from Panchkula.
Yes, sir. I am currently residing in Panchkula. I
Okay.
belong to Bihar.
Yes, that's right. You belong to Bihar. Okay. So, as I can see that your father is from Muzaffarpur.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your optional is political science and international
Yes, sir.
relations. And coming to some other aspects, you have done your BA.
Yes, sir.
Okay, from Amritsar.
Yes, sir.
So Bihar, Punjab, and then Haryana.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My father was earlier posted in Amritsar. Currently, he is posted in Chandigarh, and we are residing in Panchkula.
Okay. And your subjects are English, economics, history, political science.
Mudli Punjabi, sir.
Mudli. What is Mudli?
Mudli is basic in Punjabi language, so it was a compulsory subject
Okay.
in my college.
And you are fond of doodle art, participation in essay writing,
Yes, sir.
and quiz competition, and also jogging.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So, very interesting. 3 states you have to be equipped with that information while appearing at the. When is your interview fixed, by the way?
19th May.
19th of May. Okay. Right. So, have you heard about a scheme and by the name of Swamitva? Have you heard? What is Swamitva?
Yes, sir. Sir, Swamitya Yojana was launched regarding land ownership. It was kind of land ownership whereby land ownership of people would be notified, and they would try to resolve the issues and disputes related to land.
All types of land or any particular type of land? I mean, because village has 2 types of land. One is the abadi,
Yes,
and
sir.
the other is the agricultural land. So, which type of land? The Swamitva was meant for which kind of land? Any idea?
Sir, I am not very sure, but maybe it was regarding agricultural land.
Agricultural land, already the records are absolutely, they have been prepared very well.
Sorry, sir.
So it was regarding the residential area
Thank
where
you,
there
sir.
were no such titles which were available. All right. So tell me, criminalization of politics in India. So why does it happen in this country and not in the advanced countries?
Sir, as a developing country, we have representation from people. The politicians are not that much. Sir, I would say that it can be called a colonial legacy. In political science, we have a concept of overdeveloped state, whereby the political system of our country was, because of British legacy, it developed much. The state and parliamentary system was a really advanced system, but the social and economic domain was not that much advanced. So a kind of system developed whereby money and muscle power in politics gained dominance, and because of this, a criminalization, a nexus developed.
But is it on account of colonial influence?
So the concept of overdeveloped state takes colonial legacy also in account.
Okay. Now, what is corporate governance? Why it has suddenly assumed very great importance?
Sir, corporate governance refers to the governance system of corporate houses, whereby socio-economic, environmental domain would also be included in their governance, and a development of all the stakeholders would be
So,
there.
who are the stakeholders?
Sir, for a corporate house, the corporation, its shareholders, its staff, the government, the society, the community residing in that area.
Can you give examples some of the unethical practices in certain companies, as a result of which it was thought very necessary to have a strict corporate governance? Some example, one or two example, if you can think of the
Sir,
unethical practices.
Sir, Satyam scam
Satyam was one. Any others?
Sir, Harshad Mehta scam in.
Okay, all right. Any recent things which have happened? Harshad Mehta was long back.
Yes, sir.
Satyam also happened quite some time back. Can you give some other examples?
Sir, recently in SEBI, SEBI found out there was a discrepancy in an NSC, whereby
Okay,
the
NSC, all right.
CEO.
Any other? Any banks?
Sir, the Punjab National Bank and some other banks have high NPAs due to people taking loans and then going away.
So ICICI Bank was there,
Yes.
the conflict of interest was there. Right?
Yes.
Can you tell me some of the values which are necessary in a civil servant?
Sir, honesty, patience, efficiency, accommodative nature, acceptance of diversity, empathy towards people, compassion, hard work can be one.
What is Mission Karma Yogi?
Sir, Mission Karma Yogi was started by government to bring more efficiency in civil services and make it more people friendly.
So what was it lacking, as a result of which the Prime Minister thought that there was a necessity to bring Mission Karma Yogi?
Sir, regarding civil services, there is a perception that it is not very concerned towards public. It is not actually approachable. So people find it hard to go and meet a DM or an SP. So the government tried to make it more from rule based to role based, as it was named, so that it can.
So if you become the civil servant, would you make yourself totally accessible to public?
Sir, I would try.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
In India, is abortion legal or illegal?
Sir, abortion is legal in India.
Up to what stage?
Sir, the recent bill that was there, it said for 24 weeks, up to 24 weeks, it is legal.
In the US, there is a debate going on and agitation is going on the issue of abortion. What is the matter?
Sir, there was a case regarding Mrs. Roe, who won it in 1960s or 70s, whereby the Supreme Court allowed abortion rights to women. And currently there was a leak of it was said that there was a leak of document, and in that document it was held that Supreme Court is going to change that rule. So
okay. Where were the Asian Games supposed to be held? Where are they?
Sir, it is in China, Hangzhou. I may not be pronouncing it right.
Yes, Hangzhou.
In China.
When are they supposed to be held?
Sir, I'm not sure.
Are they still on, or have been changed? They have changed the dates.
Sir, in today's newspaper, it was that they are going to postpone it due to COVID cases.
Yes. Do you know what is project management cycle?
No, sir.
Project management? Nothing about project management.
Sorry, sir.
Okay. You have studied BA. Okay. You mentioned about land disputes just now. What is the mechanism of land dispute resolution? in a district for agricultural lands?
Sorry, sir, I'm unable to recall.
And who has the records of agricultural lands?
Sir, it is in Tehsil and Revenue Department of District.
Who keeps it with him or her?
Sir, I'm not sure. Maybe Tehsildar.
Any other person comes to your mind? No.
No, sir.
Okay. In a village, which government offices and government officials you may find?
Sir, in government hospitals, there are doctors, nurses who are.
In a village. I have mentioned village.
Yes, sir. Sir, in primary health centers, we find doctors, government doctors.
Okay, accepted.
Then, sir, if a post office is nearby, sir, as in my village, post office workers are residing.
Okay.
Sir, then for education, Rajkiya Vidyalayas, teachers, government teachers are there. Sir, for panchayat system, some government officials may be there residing in the area.
What is he called?
Panchayat development officers are there.
No.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sir.
What are the sources of earning for Panchayati Raj institutions? How do they run their expenses?
Sir, the finances of Panchayati Raj institutions are to be devolved by the state. So it varies from state to state. And if we see what are options given to them, then they can fund it from some taxes which they can implement in the villages for services, for melas and entertainment.
You come from a village? You come from a village in Bihar?
Sir, no? I belong to a village, but I have not
visited.
I'm not resided for long time.
Okay. So what are those taxes? What type of taxes can be levied by the panchayat?
Sir, as far as I can recall, it was octroi tax was there. Then entertainment tax was there for fairs and. Sir, I'm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Shivani, you are a student of political science and international relations.
Yes.
So tell me, what is the oldest book written on this subject?
Sir, to my limited knowledge, it must be The Republic by Plato.
Mm-hmm. What else?
Sir, he only wrote
around the same time.
Sir, I'm not sure.
4th century BC. Don't have to go to Greece all the way.
In India?
Yes.
Sir, I'm unable to recall.
No? Okay. Have you heard the name called Chanakya or Kautilya?
Yes, sir. Arthashastra was there. Sir, to my knowledge, it was in around 3rd century BC, and it was a book on statecraft and the economy of a state and administration.
That is a book on 3 things. That is, economics, but political science and international.
Yes, sir.
Most comprehensive, going back in that time. So, do you know what is Saptang theory?
Yes, sir. The Saptang theory of Kautilya, he gave the 7 organs for a king in his kingdom, which included the king as the Nabhi or the center, and the Bal, the army, the fort, Durg, the Kosh, treasury, the Jan or Gana as the area.
So all these organs and the system is still valid?
Sir,
Of course, the nomenclatures have changed, but otherwise it's valid.
Yes, sir. It is valid in one way or the other.
Okay. Now tell me, what is the project called Sagarmala? It has been announced by Government of India. What do you mean by that? What are the components?
Sir, Sagarmala project is for development of ports, coastal shipping, and the infrastructure for waterways inside the country as well as on the coasts linking.
Very good. Modernization of ports, construction of new ports.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now, have you heard a name called UNFCCC?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Sir, it refers to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change.
When was it signed?
Sir, in 1992.
Where?
Sir, Rio de Janeiro.
Yes, absolutely. And what is the significance of this convention today?
Sir, because we are seeing the climate change taking place a lot, and the recent heat waves are manifesting it. So climate change is really a big issue right now, and this organization deals with it.
So what is happening under this convention? This is not an organization. This
Sorry,
is a
sir.
convention.
Yes, sir.
So what is happening under this convention?
Sir,
What is the latest meeting which happened under this convention?
Sir, COP26 was held in October-November
Very good.
2021.
Very good. Now, do you know what is Transatlantic Alliance?
Sir, I'm not sure.
You have not heard this name?
Sir, I have heard the name, but I'm not sure about its functioning. And it involves the countries of US, Canada on that side, and Australia, and some other countries on this on the east of Pacific. Sorry, on the west of Pacific. But I'm not very sure about its functioning, and I will have to read about it, sir.
Transatlantic is not
Sorry,
Pacific.
sir. I'm really sorry, sir.
Yeah.
I got confused.
Yeah. So it's US, Canada on the one side and the
European countries on the other side.
Yes. Now, can you tell me what is the difference between direct and indirect tax?
Sir, direct tax is one in which the incidence of tax and the impact of tax is on single person, while in the indirect tax it is passed on to other person, say in consumers. The taxes are passed on to consumers by the sellers. So indirect tax is the income that a person earns, or the corporation, their profits are taxed, while in indirect tax we pay for goods and services.
Now, excise duty is direct tax or indirect tax?
Sir, it is indirect tax.
Indirect tax. And GST?
GST is indirect tax.
Why? I pay GST when I go to the market. It's paid by me directly. So why it is indirect?
Sir, it is a tax on the sellers and they pass it on to the consumers. So the customer have to pay for it. That is why it becomes an indirect tax.
Yeah, so the tax which cannot be passed on to anybody else, that is direct tax. Your direct incidence. Okay, thank you very much, Shivani.
Thank you, sir.
Shivani, you have not opted for your home state.
Yes, sir.
Why?
So my father is currently posted in Chandigarh, so I opted for Agmot
He will
cadre.
keep changing actually as per his postings, but home state will remain same.
Sir, for home state, I do not have, in my immediate family, no one is there, and for my parents, I should
Kerala,
be.
there will be no one, no even distant relatives.
Sir, it was a choice which I was given and to fill, so I chose one. Otherwise, I will be happy to serve in any part of the country.
Okay, you mentioned actually overdeveloped state actually in context with actually politically over. What do you mean by when you say overdeveloped?
Sir, overdeveloped state means the state is developed more than the society. So the
State is
institution.
I mean, you are keeping both separate, the society and the state.
Yes, sir.
So state is developed while society remains the same. You want to say this?
Sir, the concept says that the state, that means the functionaries, the governance function, the system, parliamentary system as in India. So these functions, sir, if I compare it, then we had earlier the kings and the hereditary rule was there. But when parliamentary system was introduced, at that time we were not very much aware about the voting rights and the political advancement that British introduced in India.
So it is
So
overdeveloped or matured state?
Sir, as said by Hamza Alawi, the term he used was overdeveloped state. We may say the mature state for us.
I see. Okay, we'll leave it. Now, you must have studied the systems theory in political science.
Yes, sir.
Now, how it is relevant in the policy formulation?
Sir, the system theory, it said that on the basis of inputs,
Who gave this theory? Who propounded this theory?
David Easton propounded
Yeah.
this theory. So he said that there are some demands and support given by the public, and then the government processes those demands and gives the output in form of rule making, rule implementation, and adjudication. And then there is a there is a feedback mechanism whereby those implementation of rules are then again coming to public, and this is how the system works. So sir, it is very much relevant in present time also, because our government system functions in this very way. There are three organs of government: the executive, which implements the law; the judiciary, which adjudicates; and the legislature, which makes the law. And
Okay. Now, what will be the impact of Russia-Ukraine war? Tell us in order of, most, important one globally.
sir, a huge impact is seen on economy, and it will be there in future also, because we were already ravaged by the COVID pandemic, and now this war has inflated.
Economy is okay. Then what else?
Sir, the skepticism in smaller countries regarding the bigger
Okay,
countries.
next.
Sir, the relevance of international organizations.
Okay. Then
And-
next.
Sir, a new Cold War may start again with China, Russia on one side, and
You keep aside political science and then take the society, take the global community in your mind, and then say.
sir, a refugee crisis in Europe.
Yes.
It may.
The migrants crisis.
Yes, sir. And
That
sir,
is number one. Then
sir, the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine, building it up again would be a really big task.
the vulnerable sections,
Yes,
the
sir.
children, women,
The women.
old age,
Yes, sir.
their vulnerability.
Yes, sir.
Then what else?
Sir, if I see globally, its impact on climate also would be there. The technology that is being used, and
Nothing about food grade?
sir, that was in inflation. Food and fuel prices are rising, and it is causing.
Energy, food.
Yes, sir.
Okay. My last question is, we are going to face problems in terms of senior citizens' plight in India next in few years. What are the mechanisms for their protection and welfare?
Sir, there is a Maintenance of Senior Citizen Act, which
What act?
Maintenance of Senior Citizen.
Or there is something else also?
Sir, some part is there. I'm missing it. I'm unable to recall. the whole name of
Parents
that.
are not there.
Sorry, sir.
Parents.
Sir, the name in sir, I am unable to recall the name of act, but yes, it includes the parents,
It is
the
parents
foster
and senior
parents
citizens.
also.
It is parents and senior citizens.
Thank you, sir.
Now tell us the important provisions.
Sir, at
Two, three. That's all. 2-3 provisions. Tell us.
sir, it puts the liability on children about the parents that they have to take care of them. The parents can report to police also if there are some violation of their rights. And sir, a provision for old age home is there for those
Who is
parents.
the competent authority in the Act to adjudicate and grant compensation to the parents? There is a provision for compensation.
Sir, I'm not. I will have to read about it.
If you get selected, you will be one of them.
Thank you, sir. DM.
That is law. Now, what are the schemes and programs?
Sir, Pradhan Mantri Vay Vandana Yojana is there. Vayoshri Yojana is there, under which they provide some aid, hearing aid, and other structures. Sir, a pension scheme is also there
Very important one.
for senior citizens. Sir, that is what I. Thank you, sir.
Shivani, economics is one of your subjects. And continuing on what you've been discussing now, what is reverse mortgage?
Ma'am, I will
In the
have to.
context of senior citizens, I'm giving you that hint.
Maybe then it would be about paying back what parents did for us. Then, ma'am, I'm not sure.
Yeah, reverse mortgage is a very important step which has come now and can keep the parents economically independent. Absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am. I will read about it.
Yeah. With the coming of this new government, you find the syllabus at the school level, at the college level, is being changed. Certain personalities are being brought in, some are being dropped. Do you think history is being rewritten?
Ma'am, whenever we change syllabus, some things do change. And
The narrative I'm talking of.
ma'am, it would be difficult to say because every personality in history had their good contribution, and only some of them we are able to read in our syllabus. So bringing more in would be beneficial only because we will be knowing about their contribution. But I guess leaving some important personalities would may not be a good decision.
Just give an example. Who's being included, which is an important thing, which we had left earlier?
Ma'am,
No idea?
sorry,
Okay.
ma'am.
Read on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Nalanda University in its present status, is it a continuation of the ancient seat of learning that we had?
No, ma'am, I would not say so because earlier Nalanda was one of the biggest universities in the world, and people from different part of world came together to read and study Buddhism and other art and humanities subjects there. But currently it is not in that good condition, whether it be infrastructurally or it be on part of students' strength.
The USPs, it was the first residential university.
Thank you, ma'am.
And of course, Buddhist monastic university.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, from 2018, when you completed your undergrad, you took up an exam in 2021. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
So, how have you filled up your 3 years?
Ma'am, I was preparing for civil services exam continuously since 2018, and it was an exam of EPFO, that is recruitment exam. So I took it in 2021 so as to practice only.
Okay, now you say for 3 years, 365 into 3, 24 into 7, you've been preparing. Just give me one day's rundown.
Ma'am,
I would really like to understand how can somebody sit on the desk and study for 24 hours?
ma'am, it is not always like that. Sometimes it had been a break of even 1 week, 2 weeks, or even months in between when I used to feel low or.
So what would you take up in those months?
Ma'am, I try to continue it on a slower basis only. So my pace was slowed down, and the subject which I could do in a week, it took 2 or 3 weeks. But then I continued it because leaving it would have. I feared that
You didn't
if
take up any activities because what I can see from your form is basically academics. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my hobbies were there.
All work
Doodle
and
art.
no play. Have you heard, since English is also your subject, all work and no play makes
I have not heard of
makes
it.
Jack a dull boy. Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
If I ask you to speak on this, maybe 10 sentences, what would you say? Essay writing is your hobby.
Ma'am, I will try. So, sports and studies go together for all-round development of children, and if we focus on one side, that is academic side, then we may not be able to develop those ourselves physically also, as well as mentally alertness and agileness that come with sports would not be there, and then studying only may not be able to increase our efficiency also, because we need breaks, and sports can be a good option to be taken in that break. And then now
Okay, if you can't, fine. So you are saying your alertness and your agility. These are impacted. Are these important qualities to be a civil servant?
yes, ma'am, it is. But I would not say it was impacted in my case, because I was doing some or the other form of activities.
Like?
Ma'am, in school days we had some.
No, while you were preparing, I'm not
Okay, ma'am.
asking.
So during this preparation, ma'am, I was actually totally involved in this, and my hobby
Okay.
was doodle art. So creative expression was in that form.
Okay, so maybe alertness and agility are qualities which a civil servant requires.
Yes, ma'am, it is indeed.
How do you compensate?
Ma'am, I think I have those qualities. They were not compromised on my part.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Shivani, we'll take you back to the waiting room for a while and we'll call you again for giving your feedback.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Don't go away, just stay there forever. There, in
Thank
the
you,
room.
sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Shivani, first of all, tell us when is your date for interview?
19th May.
19th May. This is the first time you are appearing at an interview?
Yes, sir.
CSE?
Yes, sir.
How many mocks have you attended already?
So 3.
3. And how many more to go?
So 1.
1. How do you think your performance was in this mock? If you are to assess, if you are sitting on the other side, how would you assess yourself?
Sir, I was lacking on facts part majorly. And then at some point I felt that I was not articulating well. I was speaking in a very disarranged manner.
Okay, so Shivani, first of all, let me say that you are good. There is no doubt about it. And you can be very good, even outstanding also. So you possess all the good qualities which are required in terms of communication skills. Sometimes it gave an impression that you were slightly hesitant or slightly nervous about it. There is nothing to feel nervous about it. UPSC interview will go exactly in the same way as here it's going. It will be a more of conversational and you will be put at ease. So there is nothing to feel. The moment you enter the room, you should have this confidence that I'm going to give out my best today. And you will do that. So that is the feeling you should have.
Thank you, sir.
You are very good. There is no doubt about it. So, okay, Shivani, let me come to the brass tacks now. So, first of all, the area which you will be required to cover. Then I will come to your strengths and some of the areas where you will have to now understand that 3 states, since your father was under transfer. So, all the 3 states you can be asked questions. Now, what are the particulars on which you can be asked question? One is the agriculture. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The cropping pattern, the irrigation facilities, intensity of irrigation, power, tourism potential, the social evils, status of women, then some of the things like, for example, the culture, the music, the dance forms, the food habits, the industry, the potential, all these things regarding Punjab, Bihar and Haryana. Okay.
Yes.
So prepare well on these. You cannot take this plea that I was there for only a few years and so on. Anyone can ask any question.
Yes.
And since you still have about almost
10 days.
10 days are there, you'll be able to prepare. There is nothing to feel conscious about. And so the first thing is, and then of course particularly the districts where you were posted, where you were. So Amritsar would be one.
Yes, sir.
The Muzaffarpur will be another, and Panchkula will be the third.
Yes.
Then which is the maximum the station where you have spent the maximum days?
Sir, actually before that I was in Agra also.
So there is a fourth state also.
Yes, sir. There was no category of it. So I lived in Agra for 9 years almost. Then 6 years in Amritsar.
You have not mentioned it, so no questions will be asked on that.
6 years in Amritsar, 3 years in Panchkula, and some of my initial years in Bihar. And we visit regularly Bihar. So.
Okay. So understand that for all the 3 states, prepare well.
Yes, sir.
And also the places where you were there. So Panchkula, and as I said. Now coming to the subjects. So English, economics, history, political science and Punjabi.
Yes, sir.
So definitely questions will come on economics, history and political science. Remaining English and Punjabi, there may not be any questions. But you must prepare now economics, the Reserve Bank of India's role, the fiscal policy, the monetary policy, the budget, the economic survey of India. These are some of the things. Privatization of PSUs, okay. What purpose they were serving in nation building, why it has become necessary to privatize them. Then coming to some other aspects, what is going to be the economy is recovering. So what kind of economy it will emerge, V-shaped, K-shaped. You must understand that. Some of the terms in economics you should know very well. Law of diminishing returns, yes, and anything connected with economics. Economy is going to be the most important topic on which you will have to concentrate. Then political science, definitely. So political science, read the constitution, every article with particular reference, which I am telling you: fundamental rights, fundamental duties, directive principles and preamble. Then the role of president, vice president, prime minister, remedies available to an ordinary citizen, article 32, article 226, what are the different forms of writs, and then civil service, where does it figure in the constitution, the protection enjoyed by the civil servant, and also the all India services. Why the unification of the country? One reason is also the all India services, because people from north get posted in south and vice versa. Then history. So history, the entire history you will have to say, but particularly I would like to say the modern history. Then coming to your head girl, being a head girl. So leadership. What are the leadership attributes? Because head girl has to perform leadership quality. So you must know leadership attributes. It can be, for example, having a bigger purpose, integrity, honesty, empathy, team spirit. So there are almost 24 attributes of leadership. Understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then you have been secretary of Kora Kagaz Club.
Yes, sir.
Why was it named Kora Kagaz?
Sir, the club was formed to take out reusable papers from the notebooks and file papers that were there in college, and we used to form new copies out of them. So it was named Kora Kagaz.
So this, you must know about this, as you have very rightly explained. Doodle art, naturally. You said that you spend your pastime also in doodle art, so you must know about that. And how it has become famous, who are some of the very, very famous people who have been practicing doodle art and so on. Participation in essay writing.
Yes.
So essay, again, which is that essay which you have written in the recent past. Okay. So study about that thing.
Yes,
okay. Sir. Then quiz. So quiz, go into the history and see why this word quiz emerged. It emerged from Dublin, Ireland. and just go through it. You will be able to find on the Google. The quiz word came as a result of a betting between two group of people. So they put a quiz. Then jogging again, and then coming back to that political science and international relations. So let me now come to some of the other areas. Land dispute resolution. So you must have a good understanding as to what is the role of the collector, and particularly reference to the revenue administration. So revenue administration, what is the hierarchy? Are you able to follow me clearly?
Yes, sir.
So below the collector there is SDM, there is Tahsildar. Since you are in Panchkula, you would be well aware about the kind of system, but I think you were not fully aware about who are the officials.
Yes, sir.
So from Patwari onwards to the collector, understand their role. Land administration, so they provide the dispute resolution is done by someone called as assistant collector. Tahsildar has those powers. Similarly, STM has those powers. So maintenance of revenue record, updation of revenue record, and dispute resolution. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then coming to the second part of collector, that is the law and order. So the criminal administration, insofar as executive magistrates are concerned. Read about, there are 10 sections only, 10, 12 sections in the criminal procedure code. So 107, 109, 129, 133, 144, 145, these are the sections which deal with the district magistrate. If you have to ban, for example, crackers, it will again be done under section 144. If it is curfew, again it is section 144. So read that.
Yes.
That is the second. Third is election work. So understand how elections are conducted. What is the role of the returning officer? What is the role of the district election officer? Understand that very well. Collector is the district election officer for the district. In parliamentary election, he becomes the returning officer. In assembly election, it is normally the state civil service officers. And what is the process? You understand that very well. After the notification, it is acceptance of nomination papers, one, allotment of symbol, then making the polling parties, then sending them to the polling booths, and then carrying out the election, getting the EVMs, depositing them in strong rooms, and then counting and declaration. So understand the process very well. Read RP Act, both the RP Acts.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then coming to one more function, and that is developmental function. So he carries out the development in the district through its agencies. One of the most important one is the Panchayati Raj. So 73rd and 74th Amendment, Panchayati Raj institution, role of the Gram Sachiv at the village Panchayat level, role of BDPO at the block level, and role of the CEO of Zilla Parishad at the district level. And similarly, there will be unofficial actors also. So Sarpanch, then Panchayat Samiti chairman and Zilla Parishad chairman. What is their income? What incomes, does accrue to these institutions? So different forms of, for example, it can be chula tax, it can be, many taxes can be imposed, at village level. So study that.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, urban local bodies also. Okay.
Yes.
And what are their functions? That also you understand. Payment of streets, culverts. Have a good knowledge. Panchkula, there are rural areas there.
Yes,
You
sir.
can go one of the villages also, meet one of the officers also. So he will be able to give you a fairly good idea about that. Okay.
Yes.
Then coming to some other aspect, like for example, questions are asked regarding abortion, whether it is legalized in this country or not. So these are current affairs and general knowledge. You must understand that. Current affairs, when it comes, read the newspaper from today itself. Make a habit of reading at least 2-3 newspapers every day.
Yes.
Collect the clippings of that, paste them on a paper so that you are aware about them. Have you
Yes, sir.
followed? Then also understand some of the things which are happening. Today there was a news of Mr. Bagga who was taken by Punjab government, Punjab police. Similarly, there was Prime Minister's visit to the European nations. The WHO coming out with the figures of mortality in the COVID-19.
Yes, sir.
So the current affairs, be very good in that. India and its relation with its neighbors, read them. India, Nepal, India, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and so on. Sri Lanka, the debt trap which it is in. China's policy, wolf warrior diplomacy,
Yes.
South China Sea, hegemony over that. Then why China has progressed better as compared to India. India, China, India, USA, India, Russia and all these relations. Russia-Ukraine war, you were asked this question. So you were, the reply to that, you gave the reply, but the most important part should have come. So the social angles associated with every issue, every problem, you should study that.
Yes.
So the problem of food security, the problem of migration, and the entirely reconstruction from the very beginning, it will be a very stupendous task.
Yes.
So understand the social problems which have been because of this war. And then which are in the village, which are the government offices. So you must know, it can be the most important will be, and start with the most important one, the Patwari,
Yes, sir.
the Gram Sachivs, then will come Asha worker and
Yes, sir.
teachers. So priority. Whenever you give answers, always maintain priority.
Yes, sir.
And then coming to direct indirect tax, the questions related to some other thing, direct indirect taxes, and then so earnings of the Panchayati Raj institutions, I have already told you. Sagarmala project, UNFCCC, so your answers were fairly good in almost all aspects related to the United Nations organizations or foreign affairs and other things. They were very good. And then Transatlantic Alliance and systems theory, that question was also asked. So that you must give examples to that.
Yes, sir.
So examples in respect of all types of public policy models. Please read that, because your subject is PSIR appearing here also and political science appearing in your BA also.
Yes, sir.
So please understand the different public policy models. So there is an elite model, there is this model which was about Easton's model, systems theory,
Yes, sir.
and there are many, at least
Structural function theory.
so there are 6-7
Yes, sir.
models, and you must study that. So institutional model and so on. And then understand the public policy making process. 6 stages of the public policy making process. Senior citizens, women, children, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, handicapped. Understand the laws which are governing their protection and empowerment, and also the public policy schemes and programs. Study them well. And then questions like, for example, reverse mortgage for the senior citizen.
Yes, sir.
So you should study that, where the senior citizen can mortgage their house in favor of a bank, and the bank gives them a kind of an annuity every year until they die, and ultimately the property is owned by the bank. So they don't have to depend on their sons and daughters for this.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay, and then of course the syllabus, whether the history is being rewritten or not, your answer was absolutely fine. That some of the people whose name have been left out, but then you can give examples. Some of the people. The answer was fine, absolutely correct. And Nalanda University and all. Lastly, but not the least, I would like to mention that you also talk about the good governance. Read good governance. Read citizen-centric administration, ethics and values. There is a second Administrative Reforms Commission
Yes.
report. You go through that. The next is the public policies. Read a very interesting document called 70 Policies That Shaped India. 70 Policies That Shaped India. And then, as I said, Constitution and economics are very important. Niti Aayog website, you visit that.
Yes, sir.
And it will give you a fairly good idea of how things are going to shape up in the future. 75 years roadmap they have laid down.
Yes.
And United Nations agencies. So the role of them, and then lastly, but the environment and the sustainability and COVID-19. That's about it. And if you have any questions, you can ask us.
Sir, what would be the range of my performance today marks in terms of marks?
No,
What
as
would
I
be the
said, you are
range?
very good. I would not like to venture into giving any particular marks, but I am only trying to say to you that your communication skills are fine. Have a little bit of more confidence, and also your attitude is very positive. There is nothing wrong in that. The knowledge base, slight amount in the areas where I have said, don't lose any time. Start
Yes,
preparing for it, and you can definitely land up being extremely good marks in your interview, something in the vicinity of say 180 to 200 marks. You can get that, but of course everything will depend on your
Yes, sir.
written score also. But definitely we would like to see you become a civil servant shortly.
Thank you, sir.
All the best to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.